Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
You
I
are
can hear you.
heard.
Nolly, how are you?
I'm blessed, man. I'm doing well.
Very good. Hey Brenton, Shantae,
Eric,
Brittany.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing, Knolly? Good to see you.
you too, buddy. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
And we sure appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
So we got quite a few people registered. They're going to hop on here. We're going to get started right at noon. I don't want to sit around and wait for those that might be a little bit late. They're going to be able to join us, but I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Nolly, you're awesome for being so generous with your time to share your knowledge and wisdom with us. We're all looking forward to this today for sure.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Eric asked me to come on, so I'm happy to help. It's an honor. It's a real honor. Appreciate it.
You know, that's what I love about this company. You know, it's one of the benefits that I didn't realize I was going to get when I joined EXP is the collaboration and the camaraderie with the agents that are involved in EXP. Like you just said, you're here because Eric asked you and you said yes.
That's it.
I think EXP attracts a lot of the same type of personalities. Haven't you found that, Nolly? It's like, everybody you meet is just willing to help and they say yes. And what can I do for you? Unlike anywhere else.
Yeah, it's a level playing field too. I always tell people this is a gift, man, that we've been given, a real gift. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. So am I.
I think Eric wasn't sure if I was going to make it or not because he, or Eric, you're just on top of things. You're like, now for sure remember it's Tuesday, right? I'm like, yeah, I remember.
Did he confirm a half a dozen times?
Yeah, I remember one time I was back when I was in my Keller Williams days. I went into this market center to speak because I was doing a bunch of training back then. And it occurred to me that we had booked it like a month earlier, but I never talked to the people. Like I never called them or connect. I had a gal that did all that.
Right.
But I didn't personally call like, hey, I'm in town. I'm staying over here. I'll be there in the morning. So I just showed up in the morning and they were like, oh, you're here. And it was like, they were like surprised. I'm like, yeah, go ahead and get everything set up. And then of course, everybody came. We had a ton of people that showed up, but so maybe it's just my nonchalant attitude. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. I have people that show up here to my office. What we're doing right now used to be a live lunch and learn at my office here in Draper, Utah, right? And with the whole virus thing, we're strictly doing Zoom now, even though we used to broadcast on Zoom for our non-local agents. But the great side benefit of that is we get to now include somebody like you that's not going to necessarily come to my little office here in Draper and share your wisdom with everybody. So that's really, really good. But when people show up, sometimes they'll show up on time and I've been told, hey, did you remind them? Did you call them? Did you confirm? I'm like, no, they said they'd be here. They'll be here. So when they walk in, I'm like, thank you for proving me right. You'd be here, you're here. So we appreciate you, Nolly. And we're going to get right into it. It's straight up noon. So again, appreciate you, Knolly. All of you guys that are jumping on, you're in for a special treat today. I'm going to go right away and turn it over to Eric and let Eric introduce Knolly. And then Knolly, I'm going to open it up if you wanted to share your screen and make sure that that's open for you as well. So you can just hijack that.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jeff.
Go ahead.
How are you, Lynn? Good to see you.
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Hey, doing fantastic. Good to see everybody on. So, man, I'm just so excited. I really appreciate it, Knolly, you jumping on. I've been following you, Knolly, for a long time and really enjoyed your shareholder summit class that you taught. And I highly encourage everybody to jump on the training that you offer for all of us and, get engaged because the material and your energy is awesome. And for those of you that don't know Knolly, Knolly is an international speaker and coach, best-selling author and top agent with Remax and Keller Williams before joining EXP. And I think you took like 21 listings your first 74 days and sold 1,000 homes in your first 10 years. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
That's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the things I've noticed about Knolly is as much real estate success you've had, you're just as passionate about life success and your faith, and I really resonate with that as well. So truly blessed to have you here and share some of your wisdom. So I mean, it's just my great honor to introduce my friend Knolly for our class today. So thanks again, and I'll let you take it away.
Cool, cool. Well, thank you so much, Eric. And I actually don't need to share my screen, at least not now, unless somebody has a question around something that I present. But I do appreciate you, Eric, and I appreciate you, Jeff, and you guys for inviting me to be here. I mean, this is fun. This is great. This is what I love to do. I love to teach, train, coach, inspire. And just a little bit, Eric, you touched on it that, yeah, I took 21 listings in my first 74 days in real estate. But the backstory before that is that, I started my own sales and marketing company at the age of 23. I got into the music business. Back then, I was a rapper. Some people don't know that about me, but I did rap. I did Christian rap. And little by little, I decided to start my own label, which I did. And eventually we had 14 employees full time. We had 18 artists. We had a big, giant 6,000 square foot home on 10 acres with a recording studio on one part of the property. Then we had an office building in a different part of the property. So it was literally a paradise, an oasis. And we did very, very well in that business until the business changed. It actually shifted and went digital. And I didn't know how to change with that market. I knew vinyl, I knew CD, I knew cassette tapes, but I didn't know digital, and I wasn't willing to learn. And so what happened with me was 70% of our sales went away. And I was like, what am I going to do now? And people were like, hey, you do good in real estate. You do great in real estate. And so in order for me to get into real estate, and I know some of you will identify with this, I thought I had to know everything before I got in the game. So I got every book I could find. I read multiple times certain books. And ultimately, I developed a system before I even hit the ground running. But I got licensed in June, but I didn't sell it. I didn't sign with a company until December, because I thought I had to know everything. And I tell the new agents now, just get in the game, start making some plays, learn as you go. But the knowledge and business acumen that I had allowed me to take 21 listings in my first 74 days in the business. Now, these listings were the dump of the dump back then. I've got a new agent right now that I'm working with. His first deal, I think, is 460,000. It's going to be somewhere in there. My first deal was, I think, $40,000. So, hey, but do not despise small beginnings. So today, what I want to share, and by the way, most of what I teach, kind of going forward, has been what I learned from a combination of what I learned in the music industry and what I learned in real estate. Because at the end of the day, there are certain practices that if you implement these certain practices, you'll succeed. I mean, you will phenomenally succeed in any market. So, there's no such thing as a bad market. You guys already know this. When the market was exceedingly good, I did really, really well. And when the market tanked and was really bad, I did way better. I did way better than well. But you just have to change your tactics, change your game, do something different, do something that others aren't willing to do. And you've got a niche. You've got a niche to get rich. So getting into it, what I want to share with you guys are some nuggets that you'll be able to take with you, going forward. And I want to make this interactive. So if you guys have any questions as I'm presenting, be sure to, punch them right there in the chat. Let me pull up my chat. Okay, so right now everybody's just saying hello. Who's this crazy cowboy? Just kidding. That wasn't there, but I'll just throw that one in. So what I want to share with you guys are some secret things, some ingredients. Um, I always say that I have secrets, and because I feel like if you say secrets, people show up because they want to. Oh, what's the secret? What's the secret? We all know that there really are no quote secrets, but there are things that act like secrets in this business. And I say, hey, in a way, these are secret things because if everybody knew them, everybody would do them because they're simple and everybody would be successful. But the reality is 87% of realtors fail. They don't make it past 1 year. That's National Association of Realtors. Let me say it again. Only 13% of realtors succeed in the business. And that is a travesty that we can avoid from happening. It will not happen to you. If you're new in the business, you're watching this, you're not going to become a statistic. And if you've been in the game for a while and you're like, how do I change with these times that are going on right now? This is what, this is the purpose of why I'm here. So we talked about, I want to teach 5 actions that you're going to want to adopt in order to, in a post COVID-19. And the question is, when is post COVID-19? By the way, how's the market where you guys are? It's quite interesting because here in Texas, the governor just reissued the stay at home, where they want us to be quarantined, okay, at home for until August 15th now. They're saying August 15th is the new date. But I can tell you that sales are going through the roof. They're selling like gangbusters. We can't keep them on the market. I put one on the market last week, got 11 offers. I don't like to get 11 offers on a property. It's just not even fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? But got 11 offers. We sold for above asking price cash. And that's happening with all my listings. So it'd be interesting to see how things are going with where you guys are. But post COVID-19, or I should say let's face it, we're getting into a weird market right now. And how are we going to survive it? That's the question. So number one, what I want you to do is shift your mindset. Okay. You got to, and you've heard this before. You're like, okay, Knolly, we get it. Shift mindset. Jeff tells us to do that all the time and whatever. But here's a book that I want to share with you that I think will help you, because it's definitely helped some of my students. So, and before I share the book, let me just share a couple stories. So I had a gal come to work with me, and she's an agent, realtor, and her name is Mina. And Mina joined, we have a group here at EXP, we call it Mentorship Masters. It's our rev share group. We just have a name for it. Because in the music business, everything had a name. Like I had a nickname. My nickname was Rubber Dub, right? And then all my artists had names. So, that's just the way we do it. And so when she came, she was 8 months in the business. She was in feast or famine. Okay, because one of the things I want to teach you today is how to avoid feast or famine. See, feast or famine does not have to exist for you. And if you're living in feast or famine, I got to tell you, that's no fun. In real estate, write this down. In real estate, you'll only ever have 2 problems. Okay, there's only 2 problems that you'll ever have in this business. Either you don't have enough leads, okay, or you don't have enough leverage. There are no other problems in real estate. Okay, you either don't have enough leads or you don't have enough leverage. Any agent that comes to me and they need coaching or help or anything like that, they're only wrestling with one of those 2 problems. They either have way too much business and they can't manage it all and they're going crazy. They're in overwhelm. That's not a place you want to live, but they're in overwhelm. And that means they don't have enough leverage. Okay, or they just don't have any business and they're on their way out of the business. Their family's telling them to go get a real job, right? Why? Because they don't have enough leads. Okay. So this is, whenever I'm thinking of being cognizant about teaching, those are the things that I address. And most of the time I'm addressing not enough leads because there is no such thing as too much business. I had one of my agents recently came to me and said, hey, Knolly, what do you do? I've got too much business. I said, cancel clear. Let's delete that. That's bad language and that's bad mindset. When you put something out there in the universe, I have too much business, things start to shut down for you. That's called living in feast or famine. And when you put out that edict, okay, because things are formed by the words we say. I got news for you. Everything that you look at in this world, in this realm that we live in, came from the mind of someone, okay? A woman or man came up with the concept in their mind, then they spoke it out, right? And they probably put some action behind it, and it became something like this desk, this computer, this microphone that I'm talking into, or even my iPhone. It all existed as a thought, and then it became word, and then it became something actual. So when Mina came to me, she was on her way out of the business. Her husband told her, he said, you got 1 year to make it. You got 1 year. And if you don't make it in 1 year, you're going back to your corporate job. Well, I thank God she didn't have to go with that option, because she would be one of the layoffs right now. Okay. But she joined me about a year ago, and she was able to do her first year in GCI, just under 100,000. This year she'll do almost 200,000, probably 250 in GCI, just from changing the way she thinks. That's the big part of it. You got to put action behind it. The same thing is with another guy in our group. His name is Nick. Now, when Nick just started putting this into action 90 days ago, okay? He just sent me a text about 3 weeks ago, and he said, Knolly, I've got 85,000 in GCI coming in the next 25 days. Well, the interesting thing with Nick, and by the way, he already materialized that. He made almost $100,000 this last 30 days in commission. He capped at EXP, okay? And 90 days ago, he did not have a single deal, nor did he have a deal on the horizon. He didn't even know where his next deal was going to come from. It wasn't even in the radar. So what changed for Mina and what changed for Nick? Well, they started changing the way they think, and that's where it all starts. And they got this book right here called Feel Free to Prosper. Now, if you're like me and you're scientific or you're engineering type mindset, you look at something like this and says, man, that's just a bunch of hogwash with the simplest prosperity laws available. But see, just like there's laws, this, by the way, this is by Marilyn Janae. It's called Feel Free to Prosper. They have it on Audible as well. There are some principles in this realm, in this world that we live in. There are principles that if you avoid those principles, you will always be scrimping and scraping for your next meal. If you know the principles and you exercise them, your life will become one miracle after another. That's the way I live my life. It's like, I'm just looking for the next miracle. I'm just expecting it. Like I walk around in a sense of expectation. Okay. It's going to happen. It will happen. It's on its way to me. I don't see it yet, but it's on the way. Okay. And by the way, that's just the way things are. Let me just say this, that when you look at your, what you can see, that's why scripture says we don't walk by sight, because the Homo sapiens species is short-sighted. Okay. That's just what we are. We can't help that. That's just how we're wired. We're short-sighted. Okay. We think very short term. And so as a Homo sapiens race, okay, as a race of individuals, we have to learn that there are things that are outside of our radar. Okay. So back in the old days, just think of World War I or II. They had these radars. Okay. And these radars, whenever they saw a ship, like the submarine would see a ship come into the radar space, then they would be on high alert. Okay, hey, we got an unidentified ship here. What's going on? Is it friend or foe? But there is a such thing as outside the radar. Okay, so they don't know what's outside the radar because you can't see that far. And I got news for you. Most of the things in your life are outside the radar. You can't see them, but they're there. They're there, right? And that's the reason why we do goal setting and planning and strategy and all these kinds of things. So number one, you got to change your mindset. Okay. Your mindset can change just by understanding new, fresh concepts like the one. By the way, I got a ton of books like this, but just start with this one. Feel Free to Prosper, and start changing the way that you think. Number two, you got to focus on listings. Okay. You have to focus on listings. If you're already doing that, kudos to you. If you're not, and you're one of those like, oh, I don't like listings, I like working with buyers, get over that. Okay. We've been telling you, you've heard it before. Uncle Knolly's telling you again, listings. Okay. And if you don't like listings, and by the way, Jeff, I hear it a lot, this whole concept, and Eric, you probably heard it too, where they're like, well, I like working buyers. I'm not really that into listings. The reason why most people say that is just fear. Okay. You don't like working buyers more than listings. You just are not as afraid to work buyers. So you use that as an excuse. Okay. Oh yeah, I like work. And it might be true that you like working buyers. Myself, with my DISC profile, I'm a lead buyer specialist. Okay. That's what I am. I have zero ability, according to DISC. Okay. If you map that out, to work with sellers. But do you think that was going to stop me from becoming a lister? Of course not. Okay. What you have to do is understand where you are weak and partner with others who are strong in those areas. That's what I teach. Understand where you're weak, partner with others in those areas. Now, most people wouldn't know it, but I'm introverted. I'm an introvert. I'm a nerd. I'm the kid. Okay. Now I got into a lot of trouble late in my teenage years, but when I was 12 years old, I couldn't think of anything better in life than to become a computer programmer. Okay. So there my mom was at me 12 years old, 1982, I'm 50 now, in 1982, sending me to computer programming classes. Okay. That's the kind of nerd that I am. I wore glasses. I still wear them just off screen. You know, I don't let people see me with them on, right? Because I'm that cool kid with the hat, but I still wear them. You might catch me with them on somewhere here and there. So, but the reality is I'm an introverted, shy nerd. Okay. But I had to get over that, because that's not what people are looking for when they're going to get their house listed. Okay. And here's the thing. I want you guys to understand this. It won't sound right now, probably, but just write it down and think about it. So the way I approach this is that this world that we live on is a stage. Okay. It's a stage, just like any production. You are an actor that's been cast upon this stage. And by the way, you get to pick the role that you choose. You get to pick the role you play. You have a hand in that. Okay. Oh, life dealt me a bad hand. I don't want to hear about that. It's not true. You pick the role that you're playing. Okay. Nobody handed you a role. Now, oh, I came from bad parenting. Okay. I understand that. I grew up, I was told, boy, you'll never amount to anything. You're worthless. I'm sorry we ever had you. That's the kind of stuff I was told. You think it stopped me? Of course not. Okay. The only thing stopping you from your success is you. Okay. So that's reality. So focus on listings. And I teach to do that. This book right here called Success with Listings, Become a Top Agent in Your Market. Now, it used to be that I would sell stuff. So back in the day, I started with Remax, became one of the top 10 Remax agents in the state of Texas. And then I went on to Keller Williams. I was actually recruited to Keller Williams by Gary Keller. A lot of people don't know that story, but I was one of the top 7 realtors in Austin, Texas, same town that Gary Keller lives in. We live in the same city. And so when you're one of the top 10 out of 9,800 agents, you get weird things happen to you, like a call from Gary Keller's office saying Gary wants to sit down and meet with you. So I did. I went and met with him. We met we had a 30-minute meeting scheduled. 2 hours later, we were still yapping, right? And I decided to join Keller Williams. I was there for 10 years, okay? 10 years, loved every single minute of it. But back then, I used to sell everything. When I joined EXP, I just made everything free. So this one right here, you can get it for free. You just download. It's a PDF, okay? It's 430 pages, because what I'm going to share with you today is a 1-hour seminar or webinar couldn't contain all the information that I have. So I wrote it down for you, okay? It's all right here, 430 pages of the game. If you want to know the listings game, it's right here, Success with Listings. Okay, it's a national bestseller. You can download it at knolly.com, okay, for free. You can get it on Amazon if you like paying for stuff. But if you're like me and you like to get stuff for free, just download it. So this book right here, the reason I mention it is because if you're like me, if you don't have a natural penchant toward listings, if you're not a high D like those rest of them that rule the world, And by the way, this book is written for everybody, anybody and everybody. But I can tell you this, I've never made a single cold call ever. I don't make cold calls. Okay. So, and I still took over 1,000 deals. Now, do I say not to make cold calls? No, I don't. Because if you're the type of person that loves doing cold calls, and I got them in my group, you're a high D, that's what you should be doing is cold calls. I'm not a high D, so I didn't do it. I did other things. But in this book, I reveal the 3 buckets, which I'll tell you what they are: your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche. Okay, your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche, in that order. Okay, first you rock out your SOI, because in your sphere of influence there is a lot of uncollected revenue, a lot of cash that you just have not seized. Okay, and because you don't have a system. And I give you a step-by-step 18-touch system that's very easy to do, only costs a few bucks a month to do it, maybe $5-10 a month at the most. Then you want to go on to create a farm that you dominate in. That's a long play strategy. I get it, but if you'd have done it 3 years ago, you'd be cashing in today, right? When the market is up and people want to sell, they'd be thinking of you. So do it now so you'll cash in a few years from now. By the way, every time that I do farming, it doesn't cost me a dime. Why? Because I use every door direct mail, EDDM, and I partner with 4 trades that split the cost 25% a piece. Okay. So it's just advertising. Okay. Let me just give you a quick example. If you have a 1,000 house farm, it will cost you about $200 to mail to that farm, and $50 to do the postcard. So that's I get my postcards at GotPrint, GOTPRINT. We're recording this, guys, so I know I'm rattling off a lot of stuff, but you'll get the replay. Gotprint.com is who I use. So 1,000 of those going out to my 1,000 house farm is $250. But guess what? Now on the back of the postcard, I've got a carpet cleaner, a landscaper, maybe a handyman, and one other trade. Okay, and each of them pays me $75 to go to 1,000 houses. That's cheap. You're a painter and you're paying $75 to go to 1,000 homes that I've handpicked in a neighborhood that you want to be in. You piggyback with me. It's a no-brainer. Now that 1,000 house farm is absolutely free. So I can do that every month or every quarter, and it's free. Now the third thing you want to do is a niche. You got a niche to get rich, but you got to do them in that order. Okay, and that's how you have a high volume business. People think, oh man, he did 100 deals. They don't just fall out the sky. I'm not just, I know where my business is coming from. Why? Because I create the business. Okay. I can predict where I'm going to have success because I'm the one, I write the future. Okay. The future just doesn't happen to us. We create the future. Okay. Let me give you the rest of these. And then I know you guys have some questions brewing. Now talking about niches, I wrote down 7 niches that I want you to write down because I think these are going to be the niches that you want to look at in a post-COVID world. See, everything has changed, guys. Every single thing has changed. When I was in the music business, I was making $150,000 a month. I started that record label with $1,800. That wasn't even my money. I raised money. I had $50 here. I got somebody to pay me $100, $50, $100 over here. And I just told them, look, I want to start my own business. I'm 23 years old. Who's in? Who's going to help me do this? This is before the internet. Internet didn't even exist for families back then. We're talking about 1992. Okay. And I had just people that I knew gave me money. I started my first business. Within 5 years, it was making $150,000 a month. Okay. But why did that business implode? And why did I end up in bankruptcy? And why did I end up in foreclosure? Why? Because I didn't shift with the market. And in a post-COVID, here's what's going to be happening. Number 1, 7 niches that you need to focus, that you need to pay attention to. Okay. And you don't have to do them all. Just pick one. Just pick one and be the granddaughter or the granddaughter of that. So number 1, pre-NODs, pre-notice of defaults. That is not notice of defaults, guys. I had a guy on in my group. We went up and down and sideways about, he was like, well, I can just get notice of defaults off the county list. I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying pre-NODs. So you realize that if somebody misses one payment, this is Bank of America did a study. If back in the short sale days, They said if a person misses one payment, a single payment, they are 50% likely to foreclose just after one payment missed. Okay. So what we started doing was getting pre-NODs, a list of them. And that was just anybody that missed a mortgage payment, I want to know about it. Okay. So there's companies that provide that kind of data. I've got a company that I partnered with, Land Voice. Okay. And if you go to landvoice.com/niche, NICHE, we did a whole webinar on this, a 1-hour webinar, landvoice.com/niche, where he kind of reveals more about that. Old expireds. Old expireds is the second one. Not expireds, okay? Old expireds, people that expired in 2015, 2016, 2017, or 2018. Old expireds. So there's another whole system where they actually will scrub the data, find out who never relisted. Because you don't want to call them and find out that they already relisted like 2 years ago. So that's old expireds. By the way, I have a YouTube series on this called the Top 5 Niches in a Down Market. So you can look up that YouTube series and get more information on each of these. Your SOI, okay? Call them, stay in touch with them. Don't retreat from them just because you're in. I mean, this is the time to check in with, hey, how you doing? You doing all right? Is there anything? What can I do for you? How can I serve you? How can I help you? That's it. My wife did that the other day. She called somebody, hey, how are you? Her name is this friend of ours. Her name is Martha. She's above 80. Okay, I just put it that way. She's over 80 years old. She's blind. She's blind from birth. And so Josie just called her, hey, how can I help you? She's like, I tell you how you can help me. I need to sell my house. So my wife, she just got her real estate license. Look, I've been in the business 17 years licensed. It wasn't until I joined EXP, she said, I'm getting mine. So my wife picked up that listing, almost 400,000. Okay, it's going to be on the market soon. So just check in with them. Don't make it a business call. Just check in and see how they're doing. Probate. That's the fourth niche, probate. A lot of souls are going to be leaving the planet during this time, and somebody's going to need to help them with their real property. Okay. Because if COVID doesn't get them, these elderly, the stress will, not that it will, but it can, because, just imagine, you can't be around your grandkids and you got family members and you're in a nursing home and you can't see people. I mean, it's terrible, but this is what things we're dealing with what is, right? Divorce, number 5, divorce is going to be, see, the thing is, you don't want to put lightly on this, but you got people in quarantine and they're starting to look and say, well, do I really want to live with this? I mean, people are making real decisions. And I tell you, quarantine will bring out the best and the worst of people, right? So they're like, look, I tell you what I'm doing after quarantine. We're done, So that's going to happen, divorce. And some people are going to be tighter than ever. Like they're going to just become even closer together. So that it can go either way. Number 6, new home builds. Because one of the things that people are going to start seeing the need for is affordable housing. Not the kind of housing that you and I might think about when we say affordable housing. I'm talking about homes that are 400,000 or 300,000, depending on where you are. In Austin, affordable housing is 400,000. Oh, you got a $400,000 house? Where's it at? Oh, over there? Never mind. But see, a builder can get away with building an inventory of homes. In fact, one of my agents just wrote on one. The builder put in 15 homes in the 400s in an area that we never would have sold in, even 200 a couple of years ago. But now the ones that have $800,000 and $900,000 homes are starting to second guess and say, you know what? What they're being told is that they need to cut their expenses 30 to 40%. And so they're going to be downsizing or right sizing, should be a better term, into another house. And you can be there to help them and pick up 2 deals on that. So new home construction is going to be big. And then the other one is going to be renters looking to turn into homeowners, because renters are when they're going to be doing this thing where they're like, what do I even have in this world? Do I even have anything that's worth holding on to? See, people are taking a real hard look at everything, their assets. Why are they here? What's my purpose? We've got a lot of free time on our hands, so we can start doing things like that. So those are my top 7 picks. Hopefully you guys captured all those. So number 4, So number 3 is you got to pick a niche. And I prefer a listing niche. I gave you 2 buyer niches, which is the new home construction and renters. But the other 5 are listing. Now, the 4th one I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you 2 more tips, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. The 4th one I want to share with you is you've got to do this thing that we do every day. We call it do the 2. Okay, do the 2. DOTHE number 2. Okay, do the 2. And essentially what that is every single day from 9 to 11, you're in your lead generation bunker, lead generating. And that's what I have our entire revenue share group doing as a group. And we all know that we're doing that. So we're like, okay, I know you're in your lead gen, but I got a quick question. Anytime that my group addresses me between those hours, they know that I'm in my lead generation bunker, because it's the one consistent habit that I've done every single day. See, Pareto's principle teaches us, think about this. Pareto's principle teaches us that if you focus on the 20%, okay, see, the 20% of the effort will give you 80% of the results, okay? And Pareto, he was out looking at his bean crop one time, just growing beans, and he noticed that, 20% of my pea pods, I think it were peas or bean pods, are producing 80% of my crop. So he started looking at in every area it works. Okay. So let's put it in women, for the women out there. Okay. Now, if you've got a lot of shoes, okay, for example, you'll notice that, 80% of the time you're wearing 20% of your shoes. Okay. Now, if your husband can figure out which one that is, we can start getting rid of some stuff around here, right? Same thing with anything, dresses, your clothes, the same thing. Did you know that no matter man or woman, doesn't matter, that you actually wear 80% of the clothes that you have, you only wear them 20% of the time. Okay, it's just Pareto's principle. And that 2 hours that you invest in lead generation will set the tone of your day. Remember I told you I was going to take you out of feast or famine? If you will do the 2, you can leave feast or famine forever, because you're consistently doing it every single day, okay? Every single day for 2 hours. That's all I asked for. Now, Gary, when he used to teach this, he'd tell us from 9 to 12 or 9 to 1. And what I would find is that often people would get burnt out. I had a guy that told me, he says, man, I'm just going to do 8 hours a day. That's not the point, guys. Okay. This is not like an all you can eat buffet. It's like you go, it's like, man, I'm just going to eat up the whole buffet and then I won't eat for 3 days. That's not how it works. You do 2 hours a day. It's incremental success. That's how the tortoise beat the hare every time. Okay. It's time on the task over time. It wins every time. Okay. So if you will do the 2, you can leave feast or famine behind. It will never be on your back again, because, and by the way, that's how Nick got out of feast or famine. Same thing with Mina. Number 1, they changed their mind and they start doing the 2. They change the way they think and they start doing the 2. And the universe is funny, because when you do the 2, let's say you make 2 hours of calling your sphere of influence, all of a sudden you'll get a deal will happen from some other place that didn't have anything to do with the activities that you put in. But because you actually did the work, the universe, God Almighty, rewards you for doing the work. Okay. It's just a principle, guys. Just try it out and you'll see what I mean. So that's number 4, do the 2. Consistency is key. And then number 5, okay, you got to upgrade what I call your teachability index. Your teachability index. And let me just share that with you real quick, because the teachability index is something that I learned it from Kevin Trudeau, but it's very uncommonly taught. Most people don't teach it. Thanks. My wife just brought me a little treat here. Look at that. That's good. A little elixir. That's tasty. Thanks. So do the 2. Teachability index. Okay. Teachability index, number 5. Okay. So, and by the way, I've got thousands of things I like to teach on. Most of what I teach is in a realm that we call quantum physics. And so since I don't like to directly teach quantum physics to realtors, I just interject it into everything that I teach, because if you don't have quantum physics in what you're learning, then it won't work the same. Okay. Have you ever tried to do something that somebody else did and you did every single step exactly like they said to do it and you got a different result? But see, they had something working for them that was out. It was not in this realm. And so, yeah, you got to put grit into it. Okay. But that's not the only thing. Right. And so those of us that know about quantum physics, see Einstein, when he got his when he won the Nobel Prize, I think it was 1922. Don't remember the exact year, but he won the Nobel Prize for his work in quantum physics. Okay. And when you go back and you look at that, most of the people that are behind a lot of the big inventions of the day, they don't really know the science behind how it works. They just know that it does work. Okay. I remember when Thomas Edison was out speaking one day, and he did a circuit where he was teaching people about electricity. Hey, electricity is great. Here's what it's going to do for the world, all this kind of stuff. So finally, this lady just said, look, how does it work? I want to know how it works. You're not answering my question. How does it work? And Thomas Edison, he looked at her, he said, madam, electricity is, just use it. In other words, I don't know how it works. I just know it is. Use it. Okay. A lot of people get stuck on the how, and the how is not as important as you think it is. Okay. So the teachability index, write this down. We're going to look at your teachability index, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. Number one, the teachability index is used to assess how teachable you are. Okay. And don't put any, don't lie to yourself, guys. I mean, we do it all the time. We lie to ourselves, but the reality is the subconscious mind knows. So you can't get anything over on it. You tell yourself, hey, I'm going to be big. And affirmations, I'm real big and behind them. I love affirmations. Okay. But you got to get your subconscious mind on board with what you say you believe. One of the books that I recommend for that is this one right here. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. This was written by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Highly, highly recommended book right there. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. If you want to just change and rewire. See, because most of us, it's not about acquiring new knowledge. Okay, let me say it again. It's not about acquiring a lot of new knowledge. Most of you have to do some unlearning. Okay, that's the reason why I'm so excited to get brand new agents that nobody else has tainted. Because because most people just have to, it's an unlearning process. Michelangelo put it like this, actually was it Leonardo da Vinci? When he was sculpting the David out of marble, solid marble. How do you create something like that out of solid marble? Those of you that have been to Italy and you've seen these marble sculptures and statues, phenomenal. So the person asked him, how in the world do you, what's the process? How do you do that? He says, all I have to do to get this beautiful David that you see right here, all that I have to do is remove the obstacles, because the David is already there. It's already inside the block of marble. See, every one of you has a man or woman of greatness already within you. And the only thing that's preventing everybody else from seeing that, God already sees it, but a lot of other people can't see it. Why? Because you got so many obstacles in the way of your greatness. And so all he had to do was chip away the obstacles that were on top of the David. The David was already there. So he said, all I did was remove everything that wasn't the David. And then you can, it's what we call a reveal. It's already there. Okay. So how teachable are you? Let's do this. Number one, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to write down, what is your willingness to learn? And when you think about that, think about if I was to learn a new language, let's say Russian, what would your willingness to learn be? To learn a new language, put it that way. What is your willingness to learn on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 means I ain't never gonna learn that. And 10 is I'll do whatever it takes to learn it. Okay. All right. So now we got that. That's your first metric. Let's hear what you guys are saying. What is your willingness to learn? Punch it in. What are you, scale of 1 to 10? Okay, I got a 10. Brenton says 10. Brandon says 7. Eric says 9. Okay. Steven says 7. Leah says 10. Eric 10. Cody 6. See, now we're getting some honesty here. You guys 10. I got a 10. Kobe says 7. T Strong says 8. And then Arlenny says 10, and Nathan says 9. Okay, good. So that's your willingness to learn. Now, what's your willingness to accept change? By the way, Chase said 6, Jesse said 6.5. So what's your next question is, what is your willingness to accept change? Change. Y'all know what change is. Okay. Oh, now we see. Leah says 4. Audrey says 6. JY says 6. I'm seeing 5, 8, 5. Dakota says 9. Eric says 6. Yeah. See, now it's, yeah, that's good. You guys are being honest. You know, be honest with yourself, because this can change. Don't worry about what it is now. You can change it if you choose to. By the way, there's no right or wrong. Okay. It's just what your choice is. Sydney says 6. Arlene says 5. Your willingness to accept change. Okay. Now, your teachability index is A times B equals C. So A is your willingness to learn times your willingness to accept change. And what number did you get? Okay. So, for example, if you are 8, if you have an 8 on willingness to learn and a 7 on willingness to accept change, you know, it's 8 times 7, 56, right? So Leah, so what did you get? Leah sent it to me privately, so I'm not going to speak it out to everybody. But when you do that, your percentage, that's your teachability index. Okay. That tells you how teachable you are. Okay. So I got a 40, 54, 35, 42, 35, see, 60, 48. That means you're 48% teachable, 56% teachable, 54% teachable. Now, here's what I want to teach you guys. The closer you can get your teachability index to 100, the more successful you'll be. Okay. The more you can move your teachability index to 100, the more teachable you will be. There's actually a series out called Your Wish is Your Command. Your wish is your command. You can find it on YouTube. But when Kevin Trudeau first taught that, Brandon says, I got some work to do. Yeah, we all do. We all have work to do. And it's good work. So when Kevin Trudeau first taught that series, it was $10,000 to attend the conference. And I got to tell you, it's worth more than that. I mean, it's worth at least 100,000. I mean, and then he sold privately the collection of the series for $1,000. But now that it's 10 years old, it's free. It's on YouTube. It's called Your Wish is Your Command. And one of those, it's a 10-part or 11-part series. Somebody already found it. Good. Leah, thanks for posting that YouTube link. It's a playlist. And so the third one, I think, is about the teachability index. So if you're interested in getting your teachability index up, it's like a 1-hour training just on that. So you can learn more about improving that. Because think about this. If you have a 9 willingness to learn and a 9 willingness to accept change, you're still only 81% teachable. Okay. So if you're going to come under a great master like Jeff, okay, if you're going to come under a great master, a teacher, okay, the closer your teachability index is to 100, the more successful you will be in this lifetime. Okay. In this lifetime. And it's all about success, guys. There's no real reason to argue for coming into this realm and leaving your music behind, or dying with the dance still within you. You know, the gal that wrote the book, The Five Regrets of the Dying, she was a hospice nurse, the equivalent of hospice in her country, and she interviewed people in their last moments of life, whether it be their last day or last week or last month, and she just asked them, what are your biggest regrets? And they told her, these are my biggest regrets. And there's 5 of them. You know, I recommend you go look at them. There's absolutely no reason for leaving this realm without at least experiencing your greatness. Okay, most people are afraid of what their greatness will look like, and that's why they live below their ultimate greatness, because they're just afraid to succeed. Most people just have a fear of success. It's like, I don't know what success will compel me to do, and I'm comfortable where I am. And some people aren't even comfortable where they are, but they'd rather be there than to be in their ultimate greatness. It scares them, But I got news for you. The greatness that you are is what God already sees. Okay. It's just a matter of you becoming who you are. That's all it is. You're becoming who you are. It's not like I'm going to become somebody brand new. No, you're not. You're just going to become you and stop living whatever this joker that you've been living, right? Because you came in here and you're like, you know what? By the way, every one of you can do this. You came in and you're like, you know what? This part that I picked, it's crappy. It sucks. I don't like it. And it says, well, just throw it down and go pick another part. There's nothing that says that you can't be who God created you to be and fashioned you to be. So with that, I want to say, if there's any questions you get, I don't even know how long I have. We're at 50 minutes already. I'm long-winded, Eric. So, but if you guys have any questions, I hope this has been helpful. DL Bevan says, I can listen all day. Thank you. I appreciate that. Leah says, how do you go from introvert to extrovert? I've never been asked that question. It's a great question, and let me answer it for you. You don't. You don't. You see, Michael Jackson was always an introvert. Doesn't mean he couldn't play to, 200,000 or 300,000 people, and he couldn't rock the stage and rock the house. Doesn't mean he couldn't do that. Okay. But some of the biggest entertainers in the world are introverts. There's nothing that I like better. Like, let me give you an idea of myself. I'm on a cruise ship. Okay. People are having fun and I'm reading a business book. Okay. That's just my idea of fun. I like it, and I'm like, leave me alone, just let me read my book, and so that's just what you are. Embrace who you are. And once you know who you are, you start to work. And this is what I teach. To better answer your question, Leah, what you want to do is you want to lead generate to your personality profile. Let me say it again. Lead generate to your personality profile. The reason why lead generation is a chore for most people is because they're not lead generating to their personality profile. Okay. So for me, I like, my personality profile, even though I'm an introvert, I like doing YouTube. Okay. I don't love public speaking, but it's what I was created and fashioned to do. It's a passion. It's what God birthed within me. And it's very often that, a lot of people don't use the term God. They say universe or whatever it is for you. It doesn't bother me. But what happens is that very often we feel inadequate with how we've been equipped. This is the same argument that Moses gave when I Am spoke to him out of the burning bush and said, I want you. And he looked around. He said, who are you talking to? He said, no, I want you. He said, me? He said, man, I am slow to speech. In other words, he said, I'm a mumbler. I stumble. Basically, he was a stutterer. He stuttered on his words. And you want me to be a spokesperson? Like that's just like dumb. Like even Peter, when Jesus picked Peter, he walked up to the boat. He said, man, I want you on my team. Okay. Peter was like, dude, I'm a sailor, man. I don't even know. You know what Peter told him? He says, get away from me, for I am a sinful man. You're not even I'm not even worthy to enter into the same household as you. That's what Peter told him. Jesus said, I don't know what you're talking about, but I just picked you for my team. Are you in or out? Okay. See, what we have to understand is your adequacy has nothing to do with it. How you feel about it, or I'm introverted. That means I got to go hide. No, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that's your personality. Okay. Doesn't mean you can't get up and speak to people and do I'm a public speaker. So you have to learn how to do it to your profile. So because I'm an engineering mind, okay, whenever I would do a listing appointment, it would be like a presentation. It would be like a training, right? So I'm teaching them on how the process of selling their home. Like a high D would just come in and say, look, this is what I'm going to do to your house. We're going to do this, this, and that. Here's where to sign. I couldn't do it that way because I don't have that. I had to come in and say, hey, here's the process of selling a home, and here's how it looks. You know, an hour later, I got the deal, right? But 90% of the listing appointments I went on, I got the listing. Now, a D would have got it in 15 minutes. It just took me an hour. Who cares? Still got it, right? So we just have to learn to use what we have. Okay, so Stephen says, I'm planning on moving to a state where I don't know anyone right now. Is there something I can do to prepare and hit the ground running? That's what Nick did. So when Nick, 90 days ago, he moved to Seattle, which he didn't know anybody. He grew up there, but he didn't know any of those people. And they certainly weren't looking to buy homes. And so I just did an interview with him, and I actually have a YouTube video that addresses that too. If you're brand new in a city, what do you do? So if you're brand new in a city, you don't start with your sphere of influence. You start with a niche. You actually work it in reverse. You start with a niche and you start with a farm area. Okay. And I have a YouTube video where I really kind of unpack that a little bit more. But it doesn't matter if you're brand new. When I started brand new, I moved to a little town called Harlingen, Texas, and I took 21 listings my first 74 days. The reason I know the number is because I started with a small company called Prudential. I tell people I started with Remax, but really I started with Prudential. But I was only there for 74 days. When they would get 70-40 split plus a 6% royalty, I was like, no. After I figured out I could actually take listings, I went to Remax. But I had a book of business when I left of 21 inventory. Okay, somebody says I'm an introvert and I can understand the struggle. Yeah, and it really is. It's not that it's really a struggle. It's just that you have to learn how to do it differently. Okay, so anything that you have that would be seen as a handicap, it actually is a plus. Okay, you just don't know it yet. You just got to figure out how to use it to your advantage. Nick, the guy that was born with no arms and legs, it's an advantage to him. He even says it. He's like, look, I don't have any arms and legs, and I would trade anything probably to have them. But you know what? I use this to my advantage because, in fact, probably he wouldn't trade anything now because he knows that that's an open door for him. Everybody knows who he is. So others might see it as a handicap, but really it can be used to your advantage. Does your book explain the activities you should do during the two? How to contact each type of niche, and et cetera? No, it doesn't. This book, I wrote another book because my mentorship masters would be like, look, I'm in my bunker. What do I do? I'm like, dude, do I have to tell? It's like make popcorn. Step 1, pour the seeds into the thing. Step 2, put oil. Come on, dude. Well, what do I do when the popcorn's ready? Like, really? Snack on it, So I wrote a book, and I get it. It doesn't come natural like that to everybody. So I wrote this book right here, which I highly recommend. Everybody should have it. Triple My Listings. Okay. It's also free. This one, we ship it to you. You pay the shipping. The book is free. You pay the shipping. You go to Knolly.com. You can find the link to it. But this is the one that actually has 27 marketing ideas for free seller leads. Okay. So what you do is you go through here, and this is the one that shares with you, okay, how do I get into daily time blocking? Okay, developing the habit of daily lead generation. How do I develop that habit? Because it is a habit. That's all it is. And once I talk about the 5 excuses. There's only 5 excuses that agents give as to why they don't do this. And I debunk all 5 of them. There's only 5 excuses that I've ever heard from. I've worked with tens of thousands of agents. Only ever been 5 excuses to why they don't do the 2. And so it's like, honey, I didn't go out to get food for the family today. I didn't go on the hunt today. Back in the old days, just imagine the hunter-gatherer. He said, why didn't you go on the hunt today? Well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Meanwhile, the village is starving. It doesn't work that way. So I debunk those, and then I get into every single idea, and it's for every personality profile. So what you got to do is you just go through here and you circle the ideas that you like best, okay? And if you don't like them, that means it's not resonating with your personality profile. Now, it doesn't mean that you might not have to do some things that you're uncomfortable doing at first, Okay. But just long term, if you want to avoid burnout, you're going to start gravitating to the things you enjoy. Okay. Now, Eric says, with your SOI bucket, what do you teach your new agents to say when checking in on the SOI? So right now, so in this book right here, this other book, I have 95 scripts. Okay, 95 different scripts in here because I love scripts myself personally. A lot of people don't like scripts. That's a whole nother class, but I love them. So yeah, I do teach you exactly what to say, and I have a copy paste. If you download this in PDF, you can just copy paste the script. But I'll just tell you the long version of it. If you haven't contacted them in a while, then you're going to want to. It's going to be like, hey, an apology letter that you apologize for neglecting them, but you're making a forward commitment to reach out to them every month. It's a monthly thing. And I teach you that. It's an 18-touch system, which is 12 newsletters, email, 4 postcards, and 2 phone calls. So you don't have to call them all the time, but you're still touching them 18 times a year. Brenton says, how would you go about selling new homes without representing the company? So on the new home, that's not a listing strategy. That's more of a buyer strategy. And we actually have a guy on our team in our mentorship masters that has a whole system where he teaches you through Facebook, how to generate new home construction leads. In fact, we just interviewed a gal that has already put under her first year in the business, by the way, she's already put 6 of these under contract and that are brand new construction. It's a whole new construction pipeline. So you're not representing the builder, you're representing the buyer to buy a new home, if that makes sense. So guys, it's been fun. I know it's an hour already. You want to wrap us up, Eric or Jeff, or how has this been good?
It's been awesome. Thank you so much, Knolly. So much info packed in. That's got to be the fastest hour we've had in a long time. I love it. Love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be downloading and ordering some books for sure. Great info. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor and a privilege. It's just fun to do this. I recommend that you guys, like me on, I tell you what, subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I actually drop a video, believe it or not, probably about every day I drop a video. And so I love teaching, I love training, I love coaching. And now with EXP, I'm able to do it. Probably 98% of everything that I have is free. Okay. I have like 2% of stuff that you could buy. I had one person actually reach out to me and complain because he couldn't figure out how to buy my stuff. I'm like, dude, it's like, okay, let me make the button bigger so you can buy here, because it's just not a focus for me anymore. Because now with the revenue share that EXP offers, and if you guys haven't talked to this team here, you guys need to talk to the Marchant team, right? The Marchant group team, because you guys, they can fill in the gaps for you if you have any questions around this. But with revenue share, I'm able to do what I love to do, which is to teach, and I don't have to worry about the income on it. I'm able to really you talk about come from contribution, what the other company used to preach, we actually do here. So cool. All right. Yeah. Somebody said, I started my YouTube channel and uploaded my first crummy video. Yay. Go for it. I tell people all the time, just start, just begin. And here's what's going to happen. When you first get started, you're going to suck. I mean, you're going to suck. Nobody's going to like it. Then after about a month, you're going to suck less. Then after a couple of months, you're going to suck even less. And eventually you'll suck so little that you're actually good. It'll take some time, but yeah, just do it.
Well, hey, Knolly, we certainly appreciate you, man. So blessed to have you, your time. I know we were all taking tons of notes here. We got up a lot of great resources that we can go back to. Just love you, man. Thank you.
Thank you guys too. God bless you. I'm going to jump off if you guys need to finish the team meeting, and we'll be in touch.
Hey, thanks, Knolly.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks.